Oh boy, Haku here, and it's time to start catching back up to One Piece. I've fallen like 20 episodes behind, a little bit less than that, I think, actually. Yeah, I think like 18 episodes behind, so it's gonna take a while to catch up. So from here on, I'm gonna try to do 2 episodes, reviewing every Sunday, and because I want to do what I can to catch up, I'll probably keep the reviews. I say that I'm going to keep them brief, but I'm just going to talk about the episode however much I feel like talking about the episode. I feel like the reason I fell so far behind was because of 2 things. First of all, well, one's more of the reason I fell out of it, and another's more of the reason it took me so long to get back. The reason I fell out of it, I think, is because One Piece is one of those series where I have been doing it every single week for like nearly 2 years, I think, at the point when I stopped, or basically 2 years. I'd been doing it every single week, talking about it every single week, and for some series where I'm getting new things or it's really, really high quality, that's different. Whereas with the One Piece anime, while this arc is really, really good, the quality's hit and miss, and I do read the manga, so and I'm not going to spoil you on anything if you're manga only reader, so don't worry about that, as if there was much I could spoil given that I am behind on the anime. But I do read the manga as well, so it's not really new content and information to me. So because of that, and because of me doing it every single week for such a long time, I feel like that kind of got me a little bit burnt out on it. So I got a little bit burnt out, but I'm ready to talk about it every single week again. I feel like I just maybe needed a little bit of a break. But the reason the break took so long and it took so long to get back to it is because where I just so happened to fall behind at was at Big Mom's backstory. And so for those of you that this is my first review of the anime that you're watching, don't judge my future reviews on the negativity of this. I'm generally super positive about everything and try to be as positive as I can, though I've not always been the most positive with the One Piece anime, because they have done some pretty rough episodes. They've struggled a little bit here and there, but I'm usually super positive and try to look at the bright side of things. And even in this review, I'm going to be that way, but one of the reasons it took me so long to get back is that I really do not like Big Mom's backstory, or Big Mom. Like, Big Mom as a character, her entire character is that she's big and she's dumb. There's nothing really more deep than that. She's just big and dumb, and that's why we have to rely on characters like Katakuri to actually be good villains for this arc. Big Mom works as a big force of nature kind of deal, but not really as a character villain. She's the least developed villain, really, and one thing that sets her apart from others is that others have this sad backstory where you can kind of feel bad for them, or at least understand why they did the evil shit they did, whereas with Big Mom, she's just kind of straight evil the whole way through. She's kind of really a piece of shit. She is really a terrible, horrible monster of a person. And that's good if you're writing her to be this terrible, horrible monster of a person that you're supposed to hate, but they kind of come off with this vibe that we're supposed to feel bad for, and I'm just like, Big Mom, you killed a bunch of children because of your own, well, being just big and stupid. So, like, her character is very, very simple and very much a horrible person. So that's good since she's written as a villain, but when you try to make us feel sympathy for her, it just does not work at all for me. So I'm going to talk about 836 and 837, starting with 836, but I'm probably going to be a bit negative on most of the Big Mom stuff. So, or negative story-wise. The episodes, I'll say actually both were really well done quality-wise. The animation was good for One Piece standards. The voice acting was great. I love Big Mom's voice actress, both the adult and kid Big Mom. I can't tell if it's the same person. I thought it was a different person at first, but then towards the end I was like, wait, is that the same voice actress? But either way, she is great. The adult Big Mom's voice actress has been great throughout this arc, and even the young Big Mom's voice actress, even though I can't stand young Big Mom, or even the adult version, but especially the young version, I really thought the voice actress did a really great job. So quality-wise, it was really good. It's just story-wise, and it's like, do I judge it on how much I like the story, because I really don't like the story of her backstory that's being told, or do I judge it on the merits of the quality of how it's made, because it's good quality. But starting at the beginning, story-wise here, because I love this arc. It's just this backstory is a little bit rough, and I knew that they weren't, because of the pacing of One Piece, they weren't going to handle it in one episode, so I was going to have to sit through it a bit. But either way, we start off 63 years ago, because Big Mom's having a flashback now that the picture's been broken and she's screaming. 63 years ago on Elbaf, the big dope at 5 years old, Big Mom, is dopey and evil already, and her parents leave her behind on Elbaf to be picked up by basically picked up by an orphanage. So Carmel, we get our first introduction to who Mother Carmel actually is, and she stopped an execution of giant pirates 37 years ago and opened an orphanage on Elbaf, and that's where Big Mom ends up showing up. So Big Mom's entire story, as I've said like twice this review already, is that she is big and dumb. Very big and very dumb. And that's what most of the flashbacks we saw were. And one of the problems, we see her trying to like tear apart the long-armed dude or the fish man, is that, again, one of the problems with her character that doesn't make you feel sorry for her, it makes you hate her even more because she's such a terrible person, is, again, she's willing to dismember these kids because she wants everyone to be like her. And you see that with her main goal. Her main goal is to create this giant serum that they were testing on children. Again, doing terrible things to children seems to be Big Mom's way of, her just main way of operating here. So she's doing these terrible things in order to make people more like her. She tested the medicine on children to make people giants so they'd be more like her. She wants everyone to she's like, oh, well, I'm different than everybody else, but everyone should be like me. So Big Mom is just really, really terrible. She's the worst villain in a way that she's not smart or clever, or she doesn't have these convictions or these reasons for what she's doing. She is just plain big and dumb. There's nothing deeper to her character. There's no real heart or conviction or anything special like there are with other villains. And like I said, that's why I feel like we need characters like Katakuri in this arc that have to carry her, or like Pudding in this arc, who have to carry her as a character. She has to rely on her, even her big pirate infrastructure relies on her kids, and she's just the big, powerful dope at the top that doesn't really do anything, while all her kids handle the actual work. So yeah, she's just really, really terrible. And I'm not saying this as in like the episode was horribly written or anything. The character's just a terrible person is what I'm saying. The character's written as really a terrible person. And Carmel is just as big a piece of shit, as we find out later where she's been selling off the kids to the government. But even before that, when she's like, when she could have maybe saved Lin-Lin. Lin-Lin was terrible pretty much from the beginning, but by teaching her empathy, basically, by telling her, no, you're hurting these kids, or no, it's okay that you're all different, and things like that, and really reaffirming that with her, she maybe could have saved her, but instead she was trying to make her into a monster that she could sell off to the government, so she turns her into this monster and just allows her to get away with everything and makes her even more evil. And it's one of those things where ordinarily you'd be like, oh, so it's all Carmel's fault. Don't blame Big Mom, she was just a kid. But no, Big Mom was pretty terrible too. Just a kid isn't really an excuse for murdering other kids when you're murdering other kids. So, yeah, that's kind of the line to where that's not an excuse anymore. I feel like murder is probably the line. But we get to see Kashi and Oimi from Eniya's lobby. Weird kind of recaps for them. We learn about the 12-day fast on Elbaf. Hyradine we get to see training, and I loved seeing little Hyradine. The anime again gives us this backstory kind of thing for Hyradine that I'm like, why does the anime always treat us like idiots? I mean, the anime does it kind of often, where I know it's a long series, but the end of Dressrosa wasn't even that long ago. They really treat fans like a lot of times they do treat fans like we're just goldfish. Like, we cannot think whatsoever. So, yeah, the anime does sometimes treat fans like they're dumb. But we get to see Chiefs Jarul and Jarul, or Yarul and Yarul. They both suck, though. They're both terrible. They're really lame. We learned that Prince Loki was born. The Giants, they didn't kill Big Mom soon enough. Like, ordinarily, that's terrible to say. But yeah, when she's on kind of a murder spree, maybe they should have gone ahead and taken down Big Mom before we got the... Well, actually, if they would have taken her down too, they would have saved the rest of the world from all the murder her and her family has done since then. So yeah, the Giants didn't kill Big Mom soon enough. When she goes into hunger rage mode, there's this animation sequence where she gets these big man hands, and I was like, what's happening here? So she runs off, destroys the village, and yeah, that's kind of where we end this one before we get into 837. And my thoughts in general on 836, I kept thinking throughout the episode, I was like, man, Gert is mega wife. I was like, when she is an adult, she is mega wife. Then we have, yeah, I have in my notes right here, fuck Big Mom and Carmel, they suck. So yeah, that's basically my thoughts while watching the episode. The voice acting, though, like I said, very good. The voice acting was very good. The animation was really solid for One Piece. The pacing was good. The pacing was solid. I don't personally like the story, but the quality in the way it was told was good. So because I know it's just that I don't personally like it, I still want to give it 7 out of 10. 7 big dumb oafs out of 10. Because even though I don't really like the story being told, the way it's being told was still handled pretty well this episode. And episode 837 was at face value very similar, but looking into the way they handled things, it was not handled quite as well. Even though, again, the voice acting and animation, still good. But let's talk about 837 for a little bit. So I will give props for 837. They kind of did a recap over the basic same thing that 836 did a recap over, but they used different clips for the recap, even though it was the same thing. So props for them for that, to at least like not do the same recap twice. Yarul just gets, or is it Yorul? Yorul? I think it was Yorul. He gets just absolutely fucked. He gets wrecked by the little teeny child Big Mom. And yeah, so lame. Child Big Mom just wrecks him. She kills him that easily. I know he was an old guy and all, but yeah, lame. So we learn that Mother Carmel has the Soul Fruit, and we know how devil fruits get transferred from person to person, so that kind of lets you in on the fact that she is no longer among the mortal coil. So she uses the Soul Fruit and makes Pandora from the flames. Yorul then, Yorul? Oh, I just put again in my notes, Yorul sucks, because he's like, oh no, kill her, and I'm like, you just got basically one shot by this little child. Let somebody else make the decisions at this point. Yarul lets them live, which was totally the wrong decision. No, for killing people, she totally should have died there, probably. It was really the wrong decision to let her live, because she didn't go on to just not murder people anymore. She murdered a lot more people, including a lot of children. So, yeah, no, not a good decision letting Big Mom live. And it's really not fair to the other children as well, that really Linlin was such a danger to them, and Mother Carmel's like, oh no, you're gonna stay together even though she's a total danger to you, and killed them. So if anything, they try to make us feel bad for Big Mom in a way, and I don't feel bad for her at all. I feel bad for those kids she murdered. So Hyradine was right. Hyradine was like, no, freaking kill her. She just killed Yorul. Just kill the kid. So yeah, Hyradine was right in this situation. Then we learned that Carmel's taking advantage of the Giants. Even before finding out she's evil, you could still tell she was taking advantage of their kindness, being like, oh hey, I know this kid that I'm raising destroyed your village and killed your leader, but how about you build a house for me? So she's really taking advantage of their kindness. We learned she's been selling kids to the government for 50 years, and so that was further back than that execution. So that execution 37 years ago was just totally a setup for her to get into Elbaf so that she could take giant kids in order to sell them. So yeah, Mother Carmel's horrible. Nearly as horrible as Linlin, but I think Linlin is worse, given that she's this terrible as a kid and we know her as an adult is much worse because she grew up to be a monster terrorizing the seas. So Linlin is basically Carmel's last deal, and she's going to sell her and then quit the child selling business. And we get a random Bink Sake randomly. And again, problems is it really seems like they're trying to make us feel bad for Linlin, but no, she's terrible. I have no idea what Oda was thinking writing this. So we have the birthday croquembouche and the tea party, kind of shaping her tastes for the future as an adult, because it was the happiest day of her life, and she ate all the children because she is, as I said a lot at the beginning, big and dumb. No deeper reason than that, just big, dumb, ate all the kids. 8 children alive, and we're supposed to feel sad for her somehow, and that's the part I don't like about the episode, is that they play this sad music, and it's like Oda wrote this horrible backstory about a horrible person, and nobody felt bad for her because she's completely terrible, and then the animation studio got a hold to what they were supposed to do, and they're like, how do we do this? We're supposed to make people feel bad for her? She just murdered a bunch of children. How are we supposed to make people feel bad for her as a character? And so they tried to do it, and I think them trying to do it instead of just establishing her as this big scary monster is kind of the problem with the story. This backstory works. It does work if you're trying to portray her as this big, evil, irredeemable monster. But they're not for some reason. They're trying to portray her as sympathetic, or we should pity her in some way, or it's supposed to be feelsy, but it doesn't work at all because she's too terrible to feel sympathetic toward. There is just this line where, for different people, the line's in different places, but I think there are very, very few people that would see a character murder a bunch of children and then say, oh, I feel bad for them. No, I think very, very few people are going to feel bad for Big Mom. She's terrible. So yeah, that's the big problem. They try their hardest to make us feel bad for just a monster. A big, dumb monster. So the quality was still good. The voice acting, the animation was still good. It's just the way they handled the story was even worse, and I would give it a 4 out of 10 for the fact that they tried to make such a terrible character feel... They tried to humanize her, tried to make her seem sympathetic when she's just terrible. So, yeah, had some problems with the episode. And I have some general problems with the backstory, and as much as I love this arc, that's why I knew it was going to be hard to get back into this, because I was going to have to review a small part of the story that I definitely did not like. And again, it's not that I even don't like the backstory. The backstory works if its aim is to make you see her as this big irredeemable monster, but for some reason the aim of the backstory just seems way off. It seems like it's supposed to make us feel bad for her, like all the other villain backstories have tried to justify why they are the way they are, but there was no justification here. She's just big and dumb. So, yeah, if you wanted to not watch these 2 episodes and save time, just look at a piece of paper that says Big Mom is big and dumb, and you've been given about as much as you were given here. But seriously, it's not... The episodes weren't that bad. I never felt like, oh, I have to sit through this. It's just looking at the actual story behind it. It's not a very good story to tell. Hey, you should feel bad for this person murdering children. Yeah, that's not the best story to tell. So, problems as it were. That's it for the video. Like if you did like the video, and comment down there to Tell me what you thought of these episodes, what you thought of my thoughts on them. Subscribe for more One Piece, both anime and manga, a bunch more on the channel. Follow on Twitter if you want. I can try to keep you updated there and stuff for the channel. And if you want a link to our Discord server to talk to me or more of us there, just ask and I'll give you a link. That's it. Thank you once again for watching, and I'll see you all next time.